Hello and welcome to the last spring 2013 installment of the Wildcat Watch. I'm Brad Barnes. Two Baldwin City residents were at the Boston Marathon last week when the bombings occurred near the finish line. Nick Williams sat down with the Harrises to discuss their experiences during the chaos.
The last time I had seen Kit and Kale, they were at mile 22 and they said, we'll see you at the finish line.
It was just stressful not knowing where to go. My first thought was, is she okay? Where is she and how do we get there?
How were you able to keep calm yourself while keeping your son Kale calm?
I was trying to check on him a lot, but I kept telling him, we got to go, got to move. And a couple times he asked, is Mom okay? And I said, I don't know. I'm sure she is. We just got to think positive.
And there were three women standing not too far from me. And all three of them had a phone. So I just asked, I said, can I borrow one of your phones so I can text my husband, because I have no idea, if they're at the finish line or where they're at.
I mean, we had talked on cell phone, but still, there was a lot of chaos going on and danger, and people were just still scared, and we didn't know what was going to happen next. And so it was a big sigh of relief, and I told Kale, I said, there she is.
So as time passed, and once you all got the time to actually meet up, you with Kit and your son, what was discussed? What was the first thing you said to your husband and son?
Just all kinds of emotions came out, and I automatically started to cry, of course. And that was the first time that my son, my 13-year-old, started to cry, was when he saw me crying. So I don't know that we really said much. We just hugged, and it was just such a relief to have him with me.
So I've been a part of the community for a long time, and I've always known it's a pretty close knit community, but it even more was apparent when this happened, because everybody was just really grateful we're okay and supportive.
To see the entire interview, you can go to youtube.com/BakerUmedia or thebakerorange.com. With the recent terror attacks at the Boston Marathon, the debate to create new gun legislation has continued in the United States. Here's Joe Pace to discuss recent gun control activity in this week's KNBU commentary.
The Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting was one of the most devastating events in years. 4 months have passed since that unforgettable day, but as more time goes by, the American people seem to be thinking more logically than emotionally when it comes to new gun control legislation. According to an NBC Wall Street Journal poll, 61% of Americans favored new gun control laws in February. By early April, that number dipped down to 55%. The most recent poll conducted has shown that support for a new bill has been dipped down below 50%. Last week in the Senate, a bipartisan proposal for expanding background checks for gun buyers failed to win the 60 votes it needed. With this recent decision, it will be interesting to see how the Obama administration responds.
Last week, the U.S. Senate rejected a bill that would require background checks on all gun purchases. To see what the students and faculty at BU thought about the decision, here's Ryan Poe with this week's Baker Beat.
Hi, I'm Ryan Poe, and welcome to this week's edition of the Baker Beat. Today we're out in the field asking students and teachers how they feel about gun safety. How do you feel about background checks on all gun purchases?
I think if background checks would keep guns out of the hands of people who probably shouldn't have them, then I'm for them.
I think it's a good idea, but also with background checks should also come with a bunch of education.
I think it's highly important and highly necessary, and I'm really disappointed in Congress and what they failed to do last week.
I'm not entirely for it or against it. I've thought about it a couple times. I think it would be a good idea, but if it doesn't happen, it's not gonna... I think it's still okay if it doesn't happen.
That'll do it for this week's edition of the Baker Beat. We'll see you next time.
It's a busy time of year at Baker as classes are winding down. To make sure that you don't miss out on anything, here is your Wildcat Wire. Welcome back to the Wildcat Watch. In this week's roundtable discussion, Ashley Payne sat down with two Baker students to discuss the most recent movement that was launched at Baker.
Welcome to KMBU's Roundtable. I'm Ashley Payne. Joining me today are Abby Ellsburn and EJ Carter. We're here to talk about Project CHIRP. It's a movement that is focused on fighting oppression. So first off, can we talk about the project a little bit?
Sure thing. Project CHIRP is kind of a project we started through our Quest class that's meant on fighting different forms of oppression: capitalism, heterosexism, imperialism, racism, and then patriarchy. So CHIRP is actually an acronym. And we're doing this mostly through a social media campaign, through Twitter and a website called Tumblr, if anyone uses that, to show resources for fighting oppression and ways in which oppression affects our campus.
Okay. And how many of you are involved in it, or how did it get started?
It got started originally as a final project assignment for our Quest class. It was a lot of people were involved because it was either that or write a paper, but I really do think it's taken off to something that a lot of people are deeply invested in.
Yeah. And I mean, it pretty much, I mean, like she said, you know, I mean, our teacher, she gave us an ultimatum. She said either a 10-page research paper or this. I mean, what would you pick?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, we picked the project, and actually, I mean, as Abby just, you know, hinted to, this could lay the groundwork for something that could be very big and spread to many campuses and become a nationwide or even global type of deal here. So, you know, I mean, we once we came up with the acronym, you know, we looked it up on the internet to see if anything else was named that, and it's like, it's one of a kind, so it's really a special thing.
And how did you actually come up with the acronym?
It's an abbreviation for the different forms of oppression that we're fighting.
To see the full roundtable, go to youtube.com/BakerUmedia or thebakerorange.com. For those of you that are not keeping track, graduation is now less than a month away. That means it's time for our last installment of Countdown to Commencement. KMBU's Ryan Poe has the story.
As senior Madison Mauder gets ready to walk at graduation, she looks back on her time at Baker and forward to making a difference.
It has been really awesome. It's been everything that I've wanted and more. I've kind of always known that I wanted to come to Baker, and I have gotten more from the experience than I ever thought I could have. I've loved the professors, I've loved the classes, I've loved the Alpha Chi experience, all of it. It's perfection.
Mauder is excited knowing she will be moving to Haiti just 4 days after graduation.
I'll be working with an NGO about 45 minutes outside of Port-au-Prince. I'll be the assistant volunteer coordinator, so I'll be in charge of all of the volunteers and interns coming in and out of the organization and out of the country, basically. And so I'll be their point of reference while they're there over the summer, and I will be directing them and working with them, and I'm in charge of a lot of lives while I'm there.
Mauder was determined to help save lives, and when an opportunity presented itself, she took it.
Before I came to Baker, I went to a multicultural event at the school I went to before, and this is like the super big moment, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. Like, I need to help somehow, I need to do something. And so then I came to Baker, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. But Dr. Bucher was bringing an interterm group to Haiti, and I saw the email about it, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going.
This trip led to her applying for an internship and ultimately receiving a job.
I'm excited to be like doing something with my life and moving on, and I'm excited to learn, and I'm excited to pick up the language, and I'm excited to learn more about the culture, and I thrive off of like working with people and interacting with people and learning their stories, and so I'm excited because I'm going to be completely immersed and involved with people who are very like-minded, which is sometimes kind of hard to find sometimes. So it's going to be neat. It's going to be a really, really enriching experience.
What is Mauder's biggest goal while she's in Haiti?
Saving the world. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just going to save the world.
Mauder says she has no regrets about her decision.
This is everything that I want to do with my life in this moment, and I couldn't ask for more.
Is planning to stay for at least 3 months, but says she will be there for as long as possible. That does it for this semester of the Wildcat Watch. I'm Brad Barnes. Have a great summer.